Hello, I hope you are doing well. My name is Jaclyn Veno from Galasso Learning Solutions, and welcome to the Genuine Learning blog, your resource for timely and relevant updates from all of the different standard setters. Do you want to know what the latest exposure draft is from the FASB? Well, you have come to the right place. During this blog, we're going to discuss the FASB's latest and greatest, which is an exposure draft specifically on paid-in-kind dividends. So let's go ahead and take a little bit of a closer look at this. So as you can see here, the formal name of this exposure draft is the initial measurement of paid-in-kind dividends on equity classified preferred stock, right? A little bit of a mouthful, definitely. And this was issued by the FASB on September 30th of this year. And just to make sure that we are all on the same page, let's talk a little bit about what a paid-in-kind dividend is on equity classified preferred stock. So basically, instead of a cash payment, what the issuer will do is they will distribute additional shares of a company's preferred stock to shareholders instead. And there are two types. So the first one is going to be the discretionary paid in kind. And this is when the issuer has the option. They can either pay out the dividend in cash or they can pay it out as additional preferred stock. And then we have the non-discretionary paid in kind. And this is when the issuer is required to pay the dividend in stock. They don't have that optionality. So why did the FASB decide to issue this exposure draft on this particular topic? Well, it's because current GAAP actually does not currently address how issuers should initially measure this. And as you can imagine, because there's currently no authoritative guidance on this, it is definitely creating some pain points and some diversity in practice. Stakeholders have even commented and noted that this diversity in practice is unfortunately reducing comparability among different organizations when they have these types of particular transactions. So the goal of the FASB in this case, what they're trying to do is they just want to provide some authoritative guidance on how an issuer should be initially measuring these paid-in-kind dividends on equity classified preferred stock. So the proposed amendment here is hopefully just going to help address some of the stakeholder concerns and reduce diversity in practice. So what is the scope of this exposure draft? And this is going to apply to all entities that, of course, issue these paid-in-kind dividends on equity classified preferred stock. So very narrow scope in this case. Either you have these types of transactions or you don't. And what are some of the updates that are in this exposure draft that we can expect to see? This is going to require issuers to initially measure these dividends based on the stated dividend rate and liquidation preferences, which can be found in the stock agreement. So in other words, we are going to go straight to and read the fine print in this scenario. So let's say, for example, we have a preferred stock agreement and it specifies that paid-in-kind dividends are calculated by multiplying the paid-in-kind dividend rate by the liquidation value of the preferred stock outstanding. If that is what is in that agreement, then the entity would initially measure the dividend at that amount. So we're going to read the fine print. Additionally, we also have some clarification here on the liquidation value that can also be found in this exposure draft. The liquidation value of preferred stock is determined by the terms, once again, of the preferred stock agreement. And it represents the amount payable to preferred shareholders if a liquidation event occurs. What would be an example of a liquidation event? Maybe the entity becomes insolvent, for example. So when preferred stock is issued at its original price, also without any sort of a discount or premium, its initial liquidation value is generally equal to that issuance price. I think it's also really important to just kind of contextualize and think about the impact of an exposure draft like this. So the amendments in this proposed update are definitely going to improve GAAP. It's going to provide some authoritative guidance on how to initially measure these types of items. This is hopefully going to provide some really good, clear, cost-effective guidance. It's going to reduce complexity and diversity in practice, hopefully. So really the bottom line with this exposure draft is it's going to make things a little bit easier going forward, and we can all definitely appreciate that. We also have a choice in the transition method here, so entities get to choose whether they want to do the prospective basis or they can choose the modified retrospective basis as well. So just wanted to put that out there. That's another item in this standard. And interestingly enough, usually when I do these blogs, this is not the case with an exposure draft, but the FASB did not include a proposed effective date in this exposure draft. So the effective date is to be determined. They're going to go ahead and they're going to review stakeholder feedback. And then once they have clarification there, they'll go ahead and determine what the effective date for this one is going to be. Now, we actually had a very brief comment period on this exposure draft, so remind everybody that this was initially issued September 30th, and the comments were due on October 27th, really, so just a couple of weeks. Very, very quick turnaround when it comes to this one, so, just wanted to remind you guys that the comment period has passed, but it was a very, very quick turnaround for sure. And that is all we have for the technical portion of this blog. I do want to do a really quick shout out for the upcoming audit staff level training cohorts. We have our 2026 schedule finalized, which we are very excited about at GLS. So if you're watching this blog, maybe you're a manager, maybe you're a partner, and you're looking for some really good high quality training for your staff, I would definitely recommend these cohorts. Each cohort is 16 credits of CPE. It's very interactive. We have a lot of case studies, sample work papers that we work through, and they're also highly rated with a very close to near perfect net promoter score. We are very much proud of this product. So if you are interested in learning more about our level training program, we have a QR code that is very easy for you to access and scan. And once again, that's pretty much all we have for today. If staying current with the FASB is part of your job or your role, definitely I encourage you to explore how GLS helps CPAs stay ahead of the curve. We have plenty of courses on the FASB and the AICPA, the GASB, all the different regulators. Also, if you're still in need of CPE before the end of this year, with our December deadlines coming up for lots and lots of states, we have another QR code that we have included here for you as well. So we have lots of different courses. We have government and nonprofit A&A as well if you need your Yellow Book credits. So just wanted to put that out there and include that resource. But once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Jaclyn Veno from Golasso Learning Solutions, and hopefully we'll see you on another blog. Thank you so much and have a great day.